Yo, what's good? What's good? I am back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka the Common Sense Podcast, aka your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Before we get into this, I had audio issues on my episode 105 and 106 uploaded. I uploaded on the same day, and somebody let me know the audio wasn't playing, but so I'm gonna make sure I gotta check the audio at every single episode now. But everything should be good to go. We'll have some changes next episode. This podcast banner in the back, I'm going to put up on my wall here. I got some the little hole punchers coming so I could tie some strings around it and basically nail it up to the wall instead of having it on this stand right here, which basically give me more room and it stretch out the banner a lot more anyways and whatnot. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And I got me a new ring light tripod stand coming so I can do all my TikToks a lot better and my anytime I go live I'll use that to go live because, as you know, these videos are pre-recorded for YouTube, Instagram TV, Facebook, and Rumble, which we're still uploading all episodes to Rumble. We got about 70 something episodes on there right now. And the audio version goes to Spotify and Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, and much more. You can Google Paul Pickett Podcast. We just put out a press release for the 100th episode, which is actually on the front page of worldfrontnews.com. So excited about that. It's on about 300 something news sites, press release sites, radio sites, and whatnot. First, let me get into some NBA scores and my NFL picks for the Super Bowl. And I got to go over all the topics I talked about on 5 and 106. I'm going to bunch them up all into this episode since I had audio problems. Last night, Orlando beat Washington. Let me pull up this box for Philly. Embiid was probably out of something. Let's see. No, Embiid actually played. So Washington, Sixers just didn't play too well last night. Started pretty much Tyree Maxey, who's been balling out, Danny Green, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. He just got a well-balanced contribution from the Wizards, 24 from Kuzma, 14 from Dinwiddie. Even Bradley Beal didn't play. Yeah, Sixers shouldn't have lost that game, though, because Bradley Beal didn't even play. My Charlotte Hornets lost to the Boston Celtics. I'm a little upset about that. Memphis beat the Knicks, which who would have known? Cleveland lost to Houston. Cleveland actually, I think, has just lost like 2 or 3 straight or 2 out of the last 3. But I'm not too worried about Cleveland. OKC beat Dallas. I mean, that can happen. OKC's had some big wins this year on some big teams. Denver lost to Utah. Utah needed a win badly. I mean, very badly. Sacramento beat Brooklyn. Brooklyn, I mean, they don't got Kevin Durant. You know, what more can I say? Lakers actually won the game. They beat Portland, but I'm out on the Lakers for this year. Totally out. Let's go Paul's power picks. Let's pull up the NBA standings. And I think this one I'm not really going to go off the standings. I'm going to go off 14. Number 1, Phoenix Suns. Number 2, Golden State Warriors. Number 3, I'm going Memphis Grizzlies. Number 4, I'm going Miami Heat. And number 5, I'm going right now Philadelphia 76ers. So that's my 5. The Bulls, they're number one in the East, but I don't know. Something about the Bulls just, I don't know. They're missing something. I mean, they got a lot of injuries going on and whatnot. So, yeah. NFL. Of course, the Super Bowl is Rams versus Bengals. It's really a hard pick. I mean, Joe Burrow wins. It's a great story. Bengals' first Super Bowl win. I know in my lifetime, I don't know if they've ever won the Super Bowl. I think they went twice, and that's it. Matt Stafford wins. Great storyline. A guy that everybody doubted, like, all due respect, every quarterback that's played for the Lions has pretty much had losing seasons. Matt Stafford only had good seasons when he had Megatron. Like, that was literally the best wide receiver. After that, like, I can't even name the second best wide receiver that Matthew Stafford's ever played with. He's never really had a legit running back. I mean, when Barry Sanders was there, he never had a quarterback and never had a defense. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? It's crazy. I'm going to go with, I don't know who to pick. I'm going to go with the Rams because of defense, because they got Von Miller, they got Aaron Donald, and Jalen Ramsey. I'm going with them because of their defense. I think the offenses are really like neck and neck. I mean, because Cooper Kupp's doing his thing, OBJ's balling out. Yeah, I'm going Rams. All right, let me get into some of these topics. Jim Harbaugh interviews with the Vikings. It's going to be a big deal for the Vikings. Really big deal. They need to hire Jim Harbaugh if they can. So not much to really talk about that one. What else? We had the Brian Flores files a lawsuit in the NFL. I want to talk about that for a little bit. I think he has a argument here. The Rooney Rule is definitely bogus. The NFL hasn't really showed no progression in hiring black coaches, not like the NBA has. NBA showed a lot more progression in hiring black coaches, even though some of them come into some messed up situations. But you can't blame that on the NBA. I mean, like what happened with the Houston Rockets situation, you can't blame that on the NBA. The NBA is not at fault for James Harden wanting to leave right when they get a new coach. I mean, like some of these coaches, they come into these messed up situations, but the NBA, you can't blame the NBA because you got to blame, like, it's the owners that are even, doing the hiring process. So I know Stephen A. always, like, be mad because some of these black coaches come into some situations that are not really good, but a lot of coaches come into situations that are not good. Like, in the NBA, man, like, if you're in a small market team, when are you ever really coming into a good situation? But let's get back to the NFL. Brian Flores, he has a very good case here, I think. NFL hasn't really showed no progression. The fact that the text with the Bill Belichick thing, where he texted the wrong Brian, because he actually, this is the thing, both of the guys that were interviewing for that job coached under Bill Belichick, and he actually texted the wrong one and congratulated him for the job that he ain't even interviewed for yet, but it was actually the other guy. So it just goes to show you the Rooney Rule is bogus because they were already going to pick the other guy anyways, but which I mean, it can happen a lot. That's the thing. The Rooney Rule says every team has to interview a black coach. My thing is, maybe the Rooney Rule needs to make that the first interview. That has to be the first interview. Because, I mean, some teams are going to be convinced that even though they still got to interview other coaches, that they already got their coach. They already got their guy. Some teams are already going to be convinced of that. So maybe we need to make the Rooney Rule where the black coaches have to be interviewed first and foremost. And that way, nothing like this happens. But it's interesting to see where this is going to go. Really interesting to see where it's going to go. I think he really has a good case. So I definitely want to see where that goes. Next topic, I'm going to get into this Joe Rogan and Neil Young. I talked about it on, I think, episode 105, but the audio apparently didn't record right. The problem with this is there's levels to this. There's levels to this shit. And apparently Neil Young, and now you got Joni Mitchell coming out. Who even knows who the hell Joni Mitchell is? I don't even know. But apparently she's somebody because they're making a big deal of it. And you got other musicians. Like, this is the thing. No one musician is bigger than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's got more viewership than CNN right now, and probably Fox News and probably all the mainstream news. Why is that? Because Joe Rogan doesn't come in with this bias mentality. He's open for discussion. He's open for you changing his mind. See, the problem with what's going on with the right versus the left, Democrat versus Republican, is one side of the debate has their mind made up that there's nothing the other side can say to change it. And when you already have your mind made up like that, you can't have an open dialogue discussion. It's just automatically always going to be a debate. It's never going to be an actual discussion of open dialogue. Because, I mean, I'm never totally convinced that my mind can't be changed unless I just know something is set in stone and it can't be changed. You know, it's like people want to, I mean, it's like people want to eliminate racism. You can't eliminate racism 100%. People are always going to be hateful. People are always going to be racist on all sides of the fence. All racist people can be, they might not can exhibit like racism from a standpoint of opportunity and preventing people from getting jobs, but people from all races hate on all types of races. I've seen Hispanics get, I've seen blacks racist towards Hispanics, Hispanics racist towards blacks, whites racist towards blacks, blacks racist towards whites, whites racist towards Hispanics, Hispanics racist towards whites. You can't, some things can't be eliminated 100%. This idea that you could, that's like COVID is not going nowhere. COVID is not going nowhere. You cannot get rid of COVID 100%. Anybody that thought we could was dumber than a bag of bricks. You were a complete moron. You were a jackass for thinking that. Just like you are for thinking that you can eliminate racism. People are always going to be racist. They're always going to be hateful. They're going to hate other people just off of ignorance, pure ignorance, not really knowing the facts on both sides. You know, people only know the facts on one side. Like people always say their truth. Their truth isn't always the truth. I don't care about your truth, my truth, his truth, her truth, their truth. I care about the truth. And Joe Rogan cares about the truth. That's the thing. Joe Rogan has liberals on, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, progressives. It doesn't matter. He's open. Like Neil Young I guarantee Joe Rogan is open to Neil Young coming on his show. But Neil Young isn't civil enough. He doesn't have enough, he isn't man enough or adult-like enough to just come on the show and have a conversation, whether you agree to disagree. People are going to agree to disagree all the time. This idea that we got to hate each other just because we agree to disagree is so bogus. And all due respect, mainstream media is spewing more misinformation than any platforms on the planet. I repeat, mainstream media is spewing more misinformation than any platforms on the planet. I mean, I literally saw the video where the lady said, once you get the vaccine, you cannot transmit it, you cannot get it, you cannot spread it. It was horseshit. It was lies. And it might not have been intentional misinformation at the time. It could have been just jumping the gun and not really knowing the facts. Because as far as I'm concerned, the problem with the vaccination is it's not a vaccine. It's falsely advertised. It's not really, doesn't do what we usually expect vaccines to do. And if they want to try to change the definition of the goalposts of what vaccines are supposed to do, I'm not with that. I'm not with you changing definitions. They've already been defined in stone. You don't get to redefine and rechange just because you have a different view on it. We've already all agreed for hundreds of years, this is the definition of a word. You don't get to change it just because of a small subset of group wants to change it. So that's big. That's like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, small potatoes. If they want to remove their music off of Spotify, go ahead. I mean, 10 years from now, those 7 million listeners won't even be listening to Neil Young because Neil Young will probably passed away, or those listeners will be passed away. Because anybody that listens to Neil Young is not under 50 years old. They're all like 60 or 70 years old. Nobody 20, 30 years old, 40 years old gives a rat's ass about Neil Young. You know what we care about? Neil Diamond, Neil Armstrong, Neil Patrick Harris. He's not even the top 3 in Nils. Let me get into this. Spices company Penzi loses 40K subs because they call all Republicans racist. I mean, it's what happens, man. I mean, when you alienate half of your consumer base. I'm going to tell y'all a true story. Friend of mine, Corinne Keys, he wrote a book called The Black Man's Guide on How to Cheat on Your Wife. He stays here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, owns a t-shirt print company. We print NC. And I think he's got like 2 or 3 locations. Also owns, actually, nobody knows about that, so I don't know if he wants it out there, so I ain't going to tell nobody just yet. But anyways, I ran an ad years ago for my company, Promo Palace LLC. And on this ad, I had this guy out of Fayetteville who does radio personality. I had him do the commercial. And for the commercial, he chose to put J. Cole, Trey Songz in the background of the commercial for my radio ad. Well, I ran my commercial, and I ran it on an urban radio station. I didn't really get great results. Well, at the time, I didn't really know Corinne that well, but now I do. And I think of him as a great guy, great human being, decent human being, very, very smart, tremendously smart, especially when it comes to marketing, because that's when we get to the story. So he basically told me why he felt like my ad didn't get no traction. Oh, and let me also throw out that Kareem Keys is a black man, African American, whatever you know you want to call, whatever term you want to use, black, colored, man of color, African American, whatever. He's not white. I can tell you that much. I'm white. So I run the ad and I don't get great results. He basically explains to me why I didn't get great results. And what he was telling me is that my ad was too urban. It was just I guess you would say it was just catered to black people, more or less. Because I ran it on an urban radio station. It was urban music in the background. It was an urban DJ, a radio personality that was doing a commercial, right? So what he was telling me is I should have ran a commercial with some dorky white dudes. Like, hi, Jim. Hi, Bob. You know, you won't believe this. I came across this amazing website, Promo Palace LLC at promopalace.biz. Because what he was telling me is, from a consumer standpoint of view, is that the black man has always bought from the white man, but the white man doesn't always buy from the black man. So I really thought about that. And the reason I'm telling this story is because it applies to this Pensy Spices thing. Because once you go woke, you go broke. You can't take a stance in the business world that's political or that's racist or racial. Because in a business world, the only color that matters is green. The only color that matters is green. It's not about black or white, it's about green, because money is green. So that's what I'm seeing here. When I see this company, and they're basically begging people to buy gift cards because they lost 40,000 subscribers on their email marketing thing. Now, this is the thing. If y'all know anything about email marketing, if you got, say they got 100,000 subscribers, and they lost 40,000 of them. Now, only 20 to 30% of your subscribers typically open an email. That's the thing. You're not getting 100% of subscribers open your email. Typically, it's like probably 20, 30% at most. So you got to realize they lost 3% of even if they lost 3%, I mean, that's a lot. Because you're talking about only 20% opening up a specific email. When I send out emails, I have 2,000 people subscribe to my list. Depending on what the title is, typically I'm getting 20 to 30% open rate. If I send out a title that just all my clients are just like, oh, they're all interested in, or half of them, then I might get 50 to 60%. But when you talk about losing 3% of your email marketing base, I mean, wow, that's not good, man. It's not good at all. So I don't feel sorry for this company because you can't take this stance in the business world. You can't take a Democratic stance or Republican stance. That's why I am in the middle. I'm not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I am in the middle. I'm not on the white side. I'm not on the black side. I'm in the gray area. I'm on my side. And the side of my friends, my close inner friends, and my family that I care about and cares about me. So yeah, you can't take this stance, man. You can't take a political stance in the business world. That's why places like Twitter and these Facebooks, they probably lose a lot of subscribers and a lot of advertisers. They probably lose a lot of advertisers on the Republican side because you take a political stance. They're all Democratic. No, I mean, yes, it might always seem like I'm always going on the Democrats. That's because they got more hypocritical stuff for me to talk about. But I have talked about hypocritical stances from the Republicans, like them complaining about transgender in sports. You know, because they have a hypocritical stance on it, because they're not blaming the correct people. You know, and which I'm gonna get into my next topic with that, the Matt Wash on Dr. Phil. For those that watched Matt Wash on Dr. Phil, I didn't really know who Matt Wash was before Dr. Phil. But now, after watching Matt Wash on Dr. Phil, this is what I've come to realize. And Dr. Phil, I gotta give him respect. He didn't try to just pick one side and pit one side against each other. He was very neutral in his comments and stuff. But what I'm seeing with this transgender movement, the issue is nobody's trying to dictate what a person identifies with. We're not trying to tell you you can't identify with what you identify with. I think what the issue is, and the discord and the disconnect is that you don't get to dictate what we identify sex and gender as. Just because you identify as something else that for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, maybe hundreds of thousands of years, mankind, womankind, humankind has been defining sex and gender as the same thing for thousands and thousands of years. All of a sudden, in the last 5 years, a small group of people wants to identify and define it as something else. Doesn't mean you get to dictate now what we identify and define it as. Like I said, if you want to identify, you can identify as a porcupine. It doesn't make you a porcupine. I can identify as a dolphin. It doesn't make me a dolphin. You can identify as a whale. It doesn't make me a whale. You can identify as whatever you say you want to identify as. But you don't get to dictate what we identify you as. You don't get to tell us we have to call you specific pronouns, which the problem with these pronoun things is how the hell is anybody supposed to know your freaking pronouns when you're a complete stranger? Like, I'm supposed to automatically know the pronouns of complete strangers. You know what I'm thinking about that? Go to hell. Screw you. It's not my responsibility to know what a complete stranger's pronouns are, what the hell they want to be called. And you know what? You want to open up the rabbit door of pronouns. Well, guess what? Once they start having to legally call people by the pronouns, you're going to have to call me by King, Your Highness, or God Almighty. That's going to be my pronouns. Because y'all open up the rabbit hole where people could say whatever, they could call it, make their pronouns whatever the hell they want to make their pronouns. My pronouns, if I want to, I can make my pronouns African American. Because that's what I identify with, apparently. I rap. I promote hip-hop music. I have a black woman's initials tatted on my arm. All my friends are black. Yeah. So, but am I African American because I identify as it? No, because technically I don't identify as African American. I just love hip hop music. I also promote it for a living. I've also had relationships and sexual encounters with many women of color, many black women, dark skin, light skin, brown skin. I find myself very physically attracted to black women, but I'm still of Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon, Irish descent male. No matter what I want to identify with, it doesn't make it reality. It doesn't make it fact. And that's the problem. That's what the disconnect is. That just because you identify with something, it doesn't make it reality or truth. And it doesn't mean that you get to dictate what we identify things in society as. If we don't get to dictate what you identify yourself as, you don't get to dictate what we identify people as, what sex as, gender as. That's where the disconnect is. If you stop trying to dictate what everybody else identifies certain things at and just worry about what you identify as. Don't worry about what we, that's the problem. Just identify with what you want to identify as. Do you. Nobody's telling you can't identify as. Just what we're saying is you can't force us to identify you as that. When some of us will, like non-binary, that's never going to fly in my book. Even transgenders are choosing male or female. Non-binary will never fly in my book. Never, ever will I agree to say that somebody's not male nor female. You're either male or female, one or the other, or a hermaphrodite, which is both. This idea that you're neither, horseshit, bullshit, that's where the disconnect's coming. Because you don't get to dictate and tell us we have to believe in fairy tales and fantasy, because that's what it is. Transgender people, that's a whole different thing. Somebody identifying as a opposite, that's a whole, because they're identifying as a certain gender or sex. But this non-binary thing, it's a whole different thing. Just like homosexuals and lesbians is not the same as transgenders. My neighbor is a homosexual male. It's not the same. Yes, he has feminine characteristics, but he's not running around saying that he identifies as a woman. He is a man that is sexually attracted to men, and he has female tendencies, female traits of how he acts and how he carries himself. But he's a decent human being, nice guy, nice guy. But it's not the same. He even says it's not the same. He doesn't want to be in that bunch. They group this whole LGBT thing together. It's not, each one is different. It's not, y'all bunching them up like they're the same. It's like feminists sitting there acting like civil rights is the same thing when it's not. White women were not enslaved. They act like white female feminists used to, some of them act like civil rights is the same thing as feminist movement. It's not. Stop it. All right, I'm going to get into 2 more topics and then I'm done. Russia and Ukraine. What about things going on with Russia and Ukraine? What I think is that we like being at war. America likes being at war. I think we love being at war because it makes us a lot of money. It makes us feel like the big bad wolf, like the sheriff of Nottingham, or like the sheriff of the world. Man, this shit is so bogus to me. It's like what's going on right now to me is it's like I'm Paul. And I'm sitting there like Paul says, well, you know what? Jim is going to beat up Bob any day now. I don't have no hard facts and no evidence, but he's going to beat up Bob any day now. So I got to watch Bob's back. Man, that shit is hearsay. That's hearsay until they attack. That's hearsay. What I think is going on is, I think the U.S. is trying to rev up and antagonize Russia to attack. That's what I think is going on here. They're trying to rev up Russia to attack, to basically start a war, because apparently we want to go at war with Russia. Which, why would we want to go at war with Russia? I don't know. But yeah, this is crazy to me. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I just think, like, honestly think that we're just really trying to go to war. We're trying to antagonize it. We're trying to push. Because if I'm Russia, what am I thinking? Like, who the fuck is America? Like, tell her, like, just because it's like, this is how I look at it. If Mexican army starts, lining up at the U.S. border, are we automatically going to assume that Mexico is going to attack the United States? I wouldn't. Like, they'd be dumb as hell. We'd blow them off the map. They wouldn't stand a chance. I used to think Russia was really a threat. And somebody told me they still are because they're bold. But I don't know that Russia is that bold, and they're not that rich for owning all the land they got. They don't have a lot of land. They don't have a lot of money. They really don't. They're not. They're so far behind. India doesn't come up and pass them. So that's what I think is going on here. We're trying to we like being in war. We love being in war. We just got out of war, but it's not enough. We got to be in another war. And Biden, I think, is trying to, antagonize another war. I really do. Last but not least, Tom Brady officially retires. I've literally watched Tom Brady my whole lifetime from start, day one. I remember the Patriots' first Super Bowl was with Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe, first Super Bowl. They actually lost to the Green Bay Packers. I was actually rapping at a church halftime of the Super Bowl when I actually used to be religious, but now I don't believe in what man calls God and religion. I'm not knocking religion if it makes you a better person, but I don't believe in man's definition of God whatsoever. But congratulations to Tom Brady, the GOAT of quarterbacks. Never thought I would see a greater quarterback than Joe Montana. When I was a kid, Joe Montana was the shit. You couldn't do nothing with that squad. Joe Montana, Rice, Roger Craig, and that defense, Ronnie Lott and the boys. That was the greatest show on turf to me. Joe Montana and the boys, not the Rams. But what more does that Brady have to prove, man? 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 rings, more than any franchise has. Probably the only franchise close to him is New England, because he won 6 there. The Cowboys won 3 in my lifetime that I remember. I've seen the Giants win 2, Broncos win 2, Ravens win 2. Who else have I seen? Buccaneers have won 2. Steelers have won 2 or 3 in my lifetime. I think 3 in my lifetime. Yeah, man. There ain't too many teams that just really that even got as many rings as Tom. Tom got more rings than any team. He won. He went to the Buccaneers and proved that he didn't need Belichick to win, which is really amazing. He played till he's 44, 2 years older than me. crazy. It's crazy. And congratulations to Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. And I just thought about something. One last thing I want to say. I know the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death was just a few days back. Want to say rest in peace to Kobe and his daughter, Gianna. I want to talk about this real quick because when I was watching Kobe in the league, Kobe Bryant was my least favorite basketball player when he was in the league. I mean, Kobe Bryant was my least favorite. I couldn't stand Kobe Bryant. I couldn't. And when Kobe died, that had an effect on me. Why did it have an effect on me? Because we were the same age. And I look at all the great things that Kobe accomplished on the court. And then I sit there and think about what he was going to do after. Like how great he was going to be after. And it made me realize I haven't really accomplished nothing yet. I have a lot of work to still do. Even though a lot of my friends around me, some of the things I've done, and like some of the artists I promoted for, like old school artists and some mainstream artists, they tell me I've accomplished a lot. I've done some nice things and some nice accomplishments. But to me, I still have a long ways to go. Very long ways to go. That's why I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget this podcast is sponsored by Promo Palace LLC at promopalace.biz. Need online marketing promotions for your music, your product, your brand, and your service. Check out promopalace.biz. So we're going to keep grinding and keep making promopalace.biz bigger. Also, New Litter Apparel, New Litter at newlitter.com. Your dog lover or cat lover, like t-shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts with dogs and cats, which I had a couple sales yesterday. We got to keep that moving. Had a sale for a jacket and a t-shirt. Got to keep New Litter Apparel at newlitter.com moving. Check it out. So we will keep grinding on that. Also, I got to shout out DizzleBrand.com. Just add ice, Dizzle on ice. Step into the future. Do you Dizzle? DizzleBrand.com. Got to keep grinding. I'm one of the ambassadors of DizzleBrand.com. Handle the Facebook and, help do a lot of the artwork designs, website, SEO, stuff like that. So we're going to keep grinding out. And, of course, we got the Paul Pickett podcast. We got to keep building, keep grinding out. We just put out the press release. We got an ad running every single day for the Paul Pickett podcast. We're going to keep running that ad for 365 days out the year, 7 days a week, 30 to 31 days in a month, 365 a year, 24/7, man. Got to keep grinding, keep building, and got some music coming out this year. We're going to work on some new music. Paul Masson, working on some new singles, a new album. We'll keep grinding, do what I do. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Peace, and I'm out.